Greetings, my name is RB Bo, and I'm his ADHD, and we are the Deficient Master. And today, I want to talk about a monster that can absolutely wreck your campaign. Not just in games like Dungeons & Dragons, but in any tabletop RPG. So in this video, we're gonna find out what it is, why I hate it, and what you can do instead of using it yourself. Let's play a game. 2 doors, 1 choice, and you get to pick. Door number 1 is ice cold to the touch. A rime of frost covers its handle, while powdery snow slips beneath the bottom gap. Door number 2 is on fire. Which door will you choose? Yeah, those links don't work. You think I'm really gonna tank the watch time by sending you to another video this soon? Let's see what was behind door number 1. Ah, a frost ogre. His attacks deal an extra d6 points of cold damage. But what was behind door number 2? Oh, the same frost ogre. But, I set him on fire, so now he does an extra d6 of fire damage. Fun, right? No? Well, why not? Well, that's because I was using what we call in tabletop game design a quantum ogre. A game design theory in which the game master forces a specific encounter or event to happen regardless of the player's choice. If you go left and take the forest path, you'll fight an ogre. But if you go right and take the mountain path instead, you're meeting the same ogre I worked really hard on. Now, have I ever used this quantum ogre in my game? Sure. Do I think you're a terrible person if you use quantum ogres on the regular? Yes. No. Your fun is valid. You play however you want. But don't think that whenever you shift around today's adventure because the players went to zig instead of zag, that there's 0 consequences. Because whenever you use a quantum ogre, you have to sacrifice a bit of player agency. Also known as their ability to make decisions that affect this shared imaginary world you prepared. But deficient! They won't know I moved the encounter, so who cares, right? Maybe not the first or the second time, but just like fudging dice rolls, I've learned that players can smell these tricks way before you even realize they're giving off a stench. Now, if you've never heard of this term before, don't get too hung up on the ogre part of quantum ogres. You can use quantum anything. Quantum ogres, quantum castles, quantum dungeons, quantum clues, quantum dragons, quantum entropic watchers. Hang on. That's not in the 5e monster manual. That's because it's from the Dungeon Dude's upcoming Kickstarter, Monsters of Drakkenheim, a 300-page monster manual created by the Dungeon Dudes for their Any Award-winning World of Drakkenheim. In a world where magic minerals of delirium contained untapped power for the cost of just a teeny bit of eldritch contamination, there's no telling what kind of unspeakable horrors lurk within the Monsters of Drakkenheim. Take your average basement rat, for example. Give it a steady diet of delirium minerals and you get a... Who's that Drakkenheim monster? It's... Oh my god! Monsters of Drakkenheim will not only contain 150 new monsters for your games, but also new mechanics for crafting and harvesting these creatures. I could take the claw of a haze hulk, the tongue of a troll hag, and the tentacles of... whatever that is. And I can create a potion of... I don't know what I just made. But you'll find out when you back Ghostfire Games' Monsters of Drakkenheim being kickstarted this March. Those who sign up early will get the VIP dice set as well as access to the private Discord, where even more unspeakable eldritch rewards await you. Link in the description below. Now, quantum ogres can mean different things to different people, so let's define what I consider to be a quantum ogre. Let's say the players are exploring an enchanted forest, looking for a specific dungeon entrance. They see several paths and game trails they can take, which will lead them to various clearings. One clearing contains an encounter with, an ogre that will attack the party and whittle away their resources. Another clearing has a dryad that the party can roleplay with to discover some secret about the dungeon. The last clearing is the dungeon entrance itself. A quantum ogre, by Deficient standards, is you, the game master, deciding that the third clearing the players enter will have the dungeon entrance. So, no matter if the players go left, right, center, or cut a path of their own through the forest, they have to experience the combat encounter and the role-playing encounter before you allow them to reach their goal. But Why am I so against using quantum ogres? Game masters of various experience and playstyle tend to prioritize certain aspects of the tabletop game over others. Not just do you like combat or do you like role-playing more, but also aspects such as storytelling, play acting, and decision-making. My tier list looks something like this, because player agency is the greatest strength a tabletop RPG has compared to books, movies, video games, and all other methods of entertainment. So I tend to steer away from anything that negates this aspect of my games. But that's just like my opinion, man. Your fun is valid. You play. So what could you do instead of using a quantum ogre? Going back to our forest clearing example, you locking in which clearings contain what things is not a quantum ogre. It's also not a quantum ogre, by my standards, if you put these results on a random table and roll them either before or after the players enter one of the clearings. That's what I call a Schrödinger scenario, something you've prepared but haven't determined the exact location of or when it will show up in your games. You let the dice tell you where it should go, not because of what's best for the story. I just know that the more I prioritize my precious story or my precious campaign, the more likely I'm gonna read about it in r/RPG horror stories. Because I broke rule number 1, make the players feel important. And I do that by showing them that I'm not choosing paper 3 seconds after they chose rock. So be wary of using a quantum ogre when your players go to zig instead of zag, as an over-reliance on them can make your game feel shallow. It's a convenient trick that might help in the short term, but can quickly become a crutch that'll hurt your game in the long run. Just like this DM trick I talk about in this video here. As always, thanks to those within the Coffee Masters Guild generously fueling my editor's will to live. I'm gonna start sharing some of my Schrödinger scenarios over on my Ko-fi, so if you want to further support what I do here, consider becoming a Coffee Master. Either way, more content to come, but that's all I got for now. See ya!